We're getting into an area, I know it seems like maybe it's far away, but it's not. People will just create their own games. I mean, I'm talking about AAA quality games, but just prompting it. They would create their own games that they want to play. Some, of course, will be shared, like, multiplayer, and people can vote, and you discover millions and millions and millions of games, high quality games, being generated every single day. Yeah, the reality with AI is going to be crazy. And of course, this is also going to crush lots of studios. I'm pretty sure going to be people teaming up together and collaborating with AI project to create games, but just prompting things themselves. And the tools will be sophisticated enough to be able to people just create, the perfect game. I mean, think about it. How perfect it would be if you developing an AI game, which people can always play as it being developed, and people prompting things, and just somebody just need to say, all right, this is in, and you just people saying things, and this is actually in the game. I'm pretty sure it's going to be some really crazy things where people will prompt a certain game that will play in a certain way they want to play, and there's going to be a game about people prompting their realities and inject it into the game, and you're basically going to play a game. This is combined in mix and how it looks and how it plays between different ways that people actually prompt it. Something crazy. It might be implemented in a way that it changes for the favor of the person who actually prompts something into the game, and it just happened maybe for a certain period of time. Imagine something that you say and can happen in real time in the game, and people just talking and creating crazy old. Of course, imagine that graphics will be much better, and processing and everything can happen is so fast that you can create some really crazy stuff with it. What I'm trying to say that we are really in a point where things are drastically changing, and I think people will appreciate tools that can allow them to really create their own games rather than being frustrated and not being able to do anything, or seeing the developers are not doing anything that they want to be in a game. Maybe there's going to be some voting for some prompts and people can just click and the AI will just add it to the game. That's it. It's going to be ready probably in minutes, maybe after that just instantly. And by the way, when you see something like this, you understand that there's no future for consoles and everything. The future is for multiplayer, probably collaboration between players, and for single players. Everybody can create their own single player game. They don't need anybody to tell them what they want in the game. The slogan, by gamers, for gamers, will take a different approach totally. Players will create their own games, not by studios, but their own prompt. They will say what they want and the game will be generated. And that's like the perfect one. I mean, a gamer create their own game that they want to play. What's better than that? Every game you generate is going to be a 10 out of 10. You don't even need to reviews because you're going to create and change things as you play, and it's going to be the perfect game that you enjoy playing for yourself. Even right now, when you look, even the release date is so important because some companies can't even compete against another title that is very close to release. What happens is going to be endless titles available. How are you going to compete with that? If you are a developer and you want to create something unique and fresh. We're going to talk about that in a moment, by the way. This thing has a great implications how developers will actually, tools they would develop and things related to copyright material that's going to be even more valuable in the future. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. So imagine you're sitting with your mixed reality glasses and of course a virtual generative screen, and you say a game that you want to play. And it generated a AAA quality game. It's not going to be even AAA. It's going to be AAA with the quality that you're going to get. But it's going to be generated for you almost instantly. Even now, of course, you can create some games, right? Even now, if you go to Gemini, you can create an HTML game with JavaScript and basically Canvas and create some really cool game. You can even prompt with coding sophisticated games that you're going to use, of course, platforms that already exist. Get developing platforms like Unreal Engine 5, for example, and the AI will generate the code for it, and you can even generate 3D models. The tools are already getting there, but we're going to get into a convergence point where everything will come together perfectly to create the perfect game for you. Now, I'm not neglecting there's not going to be like value for art or user-generated game. I'm just saying that AI is going to be so efficient in doing things that people who just have, use it for the free time won't care that much. They just care about having a game that we enjoy playing, that remove things they don't enjoy, especially, by the way, single player games, of course. I'm just talking about multiplayer. Yeah, people don't need to download modes. They can just prompt their mode, whatever they like. I mean, it's not even a mode. You're just going to change the game the way they want to be. They prompt a game, they say what they want, they're going to play, don't like something, change it, everything on the fly, even while actually playing the game in real time. I know it sounds crazy, but that's where we're going. It's going to be relatively soon, not as far as you might think. They're going to be different genres they're going to be born. Games that people actually speak. As they speak, things changes in the game. In something that tied, of course, the gameplay, but you can create a different game that just changes it to another game, maybe instantly. Of course, it needs to be some kind of tied to a mechanics, otherwise it's going to be too chaotic. There's probably going to be, of course, for some games, some boundaries. But the thing is that once you're able to do that and everything changes in real time, more type of games will be created. And let's not forget that the entire world will be mapped digitally, so we can actually go outside with mixed reality glasses and just speak and just change the world around you and create even games that actually take place on top of the real world. This, of course, will happen as well. And by the way, people won't care about reviews that much, right? You're going to prompt your own game, your own perfect game. Oh, and by the way, if you don't want the perfect game, no, don't worry. You don't need to think. AI will know exactly, because they know you, based on the information you share with them, exactly what the game that you want to play at this particular time of the day even. And it will generate it for you. So long gone the days, pretty soon, that you need to wait years just to get a chance to play a game that you enjoy. Forget about exclusive games. You can create exclusive games every single second. They're going to be tons of exclusive games that are exclusive for each developer that actually make them. Whether they decide to share it, well, it's something else. And probably these games will be maybe exclusive to certain AI platforms that generates them. There might be, of course, something like that. We're going to be different platforms that are going to do that. You see, of course, the AI that's going to do that. It's not going to be like something that, just going to knock on your door and come. There's going to be some, of the big companies that have the technology to actually bring this type of thing to life. So even if I think about Game Pass, how Game Pass will survive? The only thing will survive is a community base that can actually collaborate with games and create something together. That's something will be strong. Again, millions of games will be generated, AAA quality games. Game Pass won't exist in that times, unless Microsoft is working on their own AI-generated platform for games that allow players to generate their own games, and they will appear on this kind of Game Pass collaboration type of platform that can also generate games and collaborate to create games together with others. We already seeing, I think, from EA something similar. They're creating something that can generate game, and probably developers will already shift towards that to be able to, well, first iterate ideas very, very quickly, and second, create games and just test it out, see if people love them. Companies will have this technology already by developing this for themselves in order to take advantage of it before it becomes, well, very common. And maybe big companies will release this technology for others, because eventually we'll get there. The technology will be available for everybody, and those who actually won't release the technologies for everybody will just stay behind. So we might see game developers, big developers, actually creating these tools for themselves, and then creating maybe some games with it and trying to perfect the technology while actually doing so, and then just opening it to others to create their own games using their own platform. And by the way, this can be problematic, because you can see it with the competition that will be, the one who will give you everything for free will be the one that can actually win. They just need to find a way to actually profit from it. This is why you see even now with AI, there's some features that were before that just close to a paid subscription available for free to some degree because of competition. So at this moment where I think to myself, well, I want a certain game to play, but I need to wait. There will also be value, by the way, for things that people have always nostalgia, and there will also be value for certain things like Marvel Rivals, Heroes, for example. And those things, of course, are copyrighted and you won't be able to generate it. And you need to understand, those companies who already have now these franchises, popular franchises, this will hold a much, much higher value in the future when you are in the world where there's going to be like trillions of games generated like every year. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. By the way, it doesn't have to be a game. It could be like maybe a movie, for example, like Harry Potter game, another one that certain companies hold their copyrights for. So maybe some companies will want to create something like that. So the game that they generate, if they're going to generate it, will hold value. And maybe they also allow players to generate games by actually paying to have assets, or maybe some even name titles and other things from the popular genres that people enjoy so much. So they will be renting this to others to actually use in the prompt. By the way, it's happening also now where people buy, for example, rights to use something. So I kind of predict it's going to be something similar like that, because it can generate revenue. People want to create, for example, a Marvel game, but they want to create them all Marvel game or build and together in the community. So they will pay for it to be able to use it, so it will give revenue. Rather than a game basically that in the world where so many games being generated each day, even some of these popular games might, well, not succeed. So being able to have the copyright for a particular, I don't know, it's a franchise or certain characters, will be something that can bring revenue to companies. And if you think about it, like millions of them being generated and people pay for it, it can be really profitable. Now, things are moving too fast that some people think, all right, maybe in 5 or 10 years. No, it's going to be much, much faster. Things like that, we're going to change the entire industry. This can just erase big companies. You don't understand. Developers, big developers, publishers want to have this technology in their hand. Otherwise, they won't exist. And the thing is that already will have competition for so many other big companies who have the technology to develop something like that faster. Companies like Apple, like Google, like Microsoft. And we are most likely to see the AI platform, I don't know what to call it, let's say AI platform, that does all that available from these companies, also Sony. Eventually, even developers will start disappearing altogether. All these big companies that you have right now, they won't exist. I mean, I want to believe that they will, but how can they? There are going to be so many attractive games out there that even their attractive games with the copyrighted material that they might want to create a game with, it's just going to be less attractive compared to what the AI will be able to generate. And even then, AI will generate these games as well because they need to keep up. And when in the age where developers are actually not needed because AI develops everything, the only thing have is their copyrighted material, things that can actually have meaning for others. Beloved characters, or set of characters, like, for example, like Marvel ones. The same as it was with the computers. Eventually, you have your own set of AAA studios in your own pocket, in a little chip, that people will say in the future, this is like having a AAA company with 300,000 developers, artists, art directors, and so on. Sound crazy, but that's where we are getting there. That's the future. And eventually this will lead to things shrinking. So basically those big companies will actually get bigger. Those who are able to afford and create these technologies or win against the competition having these technologies. What are your thoughts? In the comment section below, it's a very interesting topic. Let's discuss it there. Cheers.